Alright, here we go this morning. It is super dark, you can't even see, but only a silhouette of me. I need to get back on to making these. I both caught up with myself and with all the videos that I have, and I'm still a couple of days ahead, but not anything significant. So I need to start busting out videos again so I can fall behind again. I skipped Monday, which already puts me decently behind. And so today I really need to get back on the recording schedule and start pumping out videos again. Like I said, I'm just over a month ahead of myself, and I have a couple of videos that I could milk out if I really wanted to, but I'm not really feeling the mood for those. A lot of issues with those is that they require a little bit more attention, if you will, than the rest, and so I'm really hoping that I can maybe just jump back on this, produce some quick videos over the weekend, and get back ahead of things. I both feared and anticipated the day that I would finally catch up with myself, and I knew that I was getting close, but it was an anticipation because I wanted to see just how far ahead of myself I was. But it was a fear because I knew once I caught up, then making videos regularly was going to be more important than it ever was in the past. And so the good thing is, if I do commit to the 2 videos a day, it gets me pretty far ahead pretty quickly. And what's more is I fall behind relatively quickly, because generally speaking I only upload 2 videos a day, but I also don't necessarily do that during the week so frequently. It's mostly during the weekend that I spend most of my time trying to catch up from the videos I didn't upload during the week. But if I maintain a 2 episode a day recording and a 2 episode a day upload schedule, then I remain caught up with myself, and I no longer have an influx of videos that when I want to plunge way ahead of myself I can pull from. And that's going to be a pretty significant difference for me to get used to. Like I said, if I can start devoting some weekend time to recording videos, then maybe I can get back ahead. The goal was to do 2 videos on the weekends. I also need to just get a new SD card, because the ones that I have keep filling up, and that's part of the reason why I don't film, is because the SD card's full and I haven't had a chance to clean it out, or I forget to charge the camera or whatever. But starting today, I need to get more serious about doing that, and just trying to crank out as much film as humanly possible to try and get some major strides made. But that's not necessarily what I had aimed to talk to you all about this morning. I really wanted to talk about the idea of when you stop caring about something, and is it possible to come back from that. So recently, some things have been transpiring at work that has made it very difficult for me to care anymore. And historically speaking, in the past, once I reach a point where I do not care, that's it for me. I don't come back from that. And I frequently use relationships and friendships as an example of that, when I reach a point where I stop caring about the individual, then at that point, no matter what they do or say, like, it doesn't matter, I don't care about you anymore. And, like, is that a healthy mindset to have? Is it a healthy coping mechanism, if you will? And I think, overall, I think it is a good thing. Like, and it's not that I'm just cutting people off willy-nilly either. I can't stress that enough. I feel like we live in a society where people are way too quick to cut people off. Like, rather than giving people the proper chance to succeed or to do better, we just cut them off and move on with our lives. And I don't think that's entirely fair to the individual or to ourselves. And so I don't just jump at the chance to cut people off, but I'm only going to give you so much a chance anyway before my mind just naturally slips into a state of no longer caring about you, and then that's just where we are. I have this issue with friends sometimes where they will do something silly or immature or what have you, and if they allow that to go on unchecked for too long, like, eventually I'll reach the point of just not caring, and at that point there's no turning back. And of course there's a lot of defining factors. Like, if I've known you for years, I'm not just gonna not care about you because you did something that annoyed me one time. But if, for example, like, we just recently met and you do something that I don't agree with, and then it goes largely unresolved or unaddressed for a good period of time, then, like, yeah, eventually my mind's just going to slip into that not care mode, and no matter what you say or do at that point, I'm just not going to care about you. So when you consider all of those things, and you consider the idea that I have run into a somewhat similar situation with my working environment now, where they're doing things that I don't necessarily agree with, and I don't see eye to eye with, and are making things unnecessarily difficult. I am now forced to wonder, like, now that my mind has flipped into the no care mode, like, am I doomed to just not care about this? And it's honestly not a great mindset to be in, and it's especially not a great mindset to be in at work, and not for someone in my position especially. But, like, just like with the friendship analogy, if I've known someone for a long time, I'm not just going to throw everything away because of one issue. Now, the difference between the friendship thing and the work thing is that, like, yes, I've worked here for a while and I don't want to throw that history away for one instance, but the one instance that they are having right now is quite egregious. And so it's like excuse me. So it's like, now that my mind has flipped into not caring, can I get it to flip out of not caring? And is the issue so egregious that I really ought to have it continue to be a not caring kind of issue? Like, should I allow this egregious thing to just be overlooked? Because that's how employers get away with things. In the modern market, employers have the power. Like, people live lives built around the fact that they are employed. And if they were to ever find themselves unemployed, they would suffer and struggle to exist in the modern world. And so with that, employers have the power to dictate a great many things. And I don't necessarily believe that that's the wrong way to do it, but there needs to be a little bit more of a balance and understanding. Like, as a manager at work, as someone who is higher up on that scale and understands business, you can never build a process that is so convoluted that it takes one person an entire year to understand, and then if they ever leave, you're just dead in the water. So I've worked tirelessly to make the processes in my employment very, I call it dummy proof, and then maybe that's not the politically correct term, but I dummy proof our processes. I make it to where anybody who's anybody can walk in, pick it up, and start doing it within a week, really. And that is the sort of thing that employers want, because they can just cycle through people till the end of time, and it'll never make any difference. But there are people who are unique or dedicated enough in their craft that they do make a difference. And it's impossible to ignore that and to not feel the impact of when they leave. And I feel like I am absolutely one of those people, and at a crucial point in this industry as well, or whatever. And so, and like, I have built my life in such a way that, like, this job needs me a lot more than I need it. And for the fact of that matter, like, any job will be that way. I did the math one time to figure out what my minimal cost of living would be. Like, if I were going to get a job, what is the least amount of money I can make and survive? And that was below the current minimum wage. So I could literally get some dead-end minimum wage job and survive. Wouldn't have near as much fun as I do now. Or maybe I would, because I would have more free time, and I don't realize how much importance that is to me. But I'm going to assume I wouldn't have near as much fun as I do now. My progress on Compression Man would all but cease to exist. And all of these other things would fall into place. So I'm not entirely interested in just throwing it away, but I am also in a unique position where I can be a little bit more bossy than most. I can throw my weight around, because I know at the end of the day, if they get rid of me, they'll be worse off than I am. Now, will they replace me, and will they eventually forget the impact that my not being there had? Sure. But they'll feel it for a while. And that, I think, is very important, to be in a place where you know your employer will feel your absence for a good while. And so trying to balance that out and trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I really feel like in this current situation, we are not in a very good place. And it's difficult to see past that. And it's very difficult, especially since, like I said, my mind has entered the I don't care mode. And the I don't care mode is difficult to come back from. So I don't know what will happen, what we'll do, what will become of any of this, really. But I do know that trying to care and to understand, or to do really anything better, is the best that we can do. And hopefully we can take that and run with it. I just don't know. The less that I care, the more that these heat of the moment decisions weigh on my mind, and I'm leaning towards I should have just done A, or I should have just done B, or I should have just done X, or I should have just done Y. And the more and more I do these sorts of things, the more and more I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to reply with what I need. And eventually, that's just going to have to work. And hopefully, we can get there and we can get to a place where we need to be. And that's all I can do, is I can hope that we get to a place where we need to be and we're able to somewhat maintain. But I don't know. I feel like whenever I turn off the highway, my thoughts go elsewhere and the conversation kind of drifts. But what I'm really trying to get around to and to get back to here is like the idea of, is this care not care mechanism in my mind, is that a healthy way to operate, or is it not? And I tend to think that it is quite healthy, because I have no real reason to think it's not. And more importantly, it's been working for me so far. I feel like I have a pretty healthy working mindset. And so if I have this healthy working mindset and things are going well for me, then obviously the safeguards that I've put in place are good. It's just interesting examining them across different facets of life. Like with friendship, how does my care not care meter affect things? And with business, how does my care not care meter affect that? And just really trying to weigh those things out and understand better what I do or don't care about, and why I do or don't care about those things, and what I can do to work around it. Recognizing the problem is 90% of it. I think a lot of us have traits that we just have, and they aren't going to go away. But being able to recognize those traits and work around them is possibly the best thing that we can do for ourselves. And it's something, I've written my first piece of literary fiction, which was My Brother Kanan, and I'm very seriously contemplating making a whole series out of that book. And one thing that I do want to tackle is like this idea that the character does not change. They don't make a fundamental change. They have a better understanding of themselves and who they are, and that might change how they make decisions, but not who they are at a core. Like, I can recognize, for example, that I am a total control freak and wish that I could be in the control of everything, but also realize that that's not the reality, and be able to better facilitate and adjust to the wants and needs of that problem once I can recognize it. So at any rate, I feel like that's honestly a concept that could be a video in and of itself. But I gotta stop you all here. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll catch you next time.